We look back at a turbulent year. A record number of hurricanes caused a major damage all over the country. That's the reason for a unique project by the government. The Rocky Mountains running from north to south are going to be restructured like the Alps in Europe, from west to east to stop the hurricanes. To finance this project, any expenses of the USA will be shortened to 2/3 as far as possible. Besides, anyone who owes money to the USA has to pay it back immediately. Any fines will be doubled and the sales and income taxes will be increased by 5%. Donations are thankfully taken without any charges. Thank you. Project RM 90 degrees, which occupies itself with the rotation of the Rocky Mountains and is called a geographic correction by the new created experts committee, has shown results. An exact plan of the chain of mountains that took its name, Coca-Cola Mountains, from the biggest sponsor of the civilian population is already prepared. The Coca-Cola Mountains will be stretched all over the USA from west to east and towered above by Mount Bush, which is going to be the biggest mountain of the world with 8,851 meters. Brad Feldstone is on the spot. Brad, what can you tell us?
Good afternoon. We are really sorry, but we couldn't line up the camera with the construction work. In spite of everything, I am standing near that place and
Thank you, Brad. And now George Fliesenfrau with the possible consequences of the project.
Now there are two theories. According to the first one, the one and only by the government, nothing will happen. But there's a second theory. The developers are not present because of a trial, but they say the Regierung wind could sweep above to the rocky plains, which would cause moving of the Midwest airstream up to the north. But it would be deflected by the Coriolis effect, so that it would hit the gate current. United, they would move west, which would cause a lot of rainstorms in Alaska and surrounding areas. Besides that, a storm would arise in the west coast and influence the vegetation heavily.
The project RM 90 degrees encountered massive resistance at the side of the population. People from all over the USA demonstrated against the project. They were knocked down and their property was confiscated. A tent city built by many environmentalists was loaded by excavators on some low loaders and transported 22 kilometers south. The night watchers were stunned. The biggest mountain of the world, Mount Bush, is completed. With 8,851 meters is Mount Bush 3 meters bigger than Mount Everest. The other parts of the Coca-Cola Mountains are under construction. The Coca-Cola Mountains are almost completed. One problem arose during the piling up of the 3,646 meters tall Mount Washington. The country house of the 67-year-old Mr. O is blocking the way. Because the house does have a cellar, it cannot be easily removed like the tent city. Mr. O is not willing to leave his apartment. The top secret operation of the FBI has failed. He did not react to the free cruise around the world as well. Our reporter Brad Feldstone interviewed Mr. O.
I am standing here right in front of Mr. O's apartment, but he still didn't open the door. Mr. O, are you in there?
Are you one of those awful, stupid, brutal, brainless idiots who are threatening the door and asking me to come out of my shelter? What? You don't know who you are? When I come out, you wish you'd never been born.
Above the Caribbean arose the hurricane named Amanda and is now moving towards the Pepsi Pass in the Coca-Cola Mountains, where from a part of the material for the Mount Bush was taken. More people protested in Alaska once again against RM 90 degrees. Bob Wolf in Alaska.
Here are big protests, and the governor already wrote some messages to the president because of the dismantling of the Rocky Mountains. An inexplicable weather phenomenon took place, and now the plants at the bottom of the food chain traveled into the west, and fish followed them. That means that you cannot catch a little fish here anymore. Back to the studio. I'm Bob Wolf. Thank you.
The Hurricane Amanda moved until now only through uninhabited areas. It moved towards the Pepsi Pass, changed its direction, and is now moving again to the Coca-Cola Mountains. Mr. O is still living in his apartment. The bomb attack, probably from the Himalayas, made the Mount Bush smaller to 8,846 meters, what says that the Mount Bush is now 2 meters smaller than the Mount Everest. The Hurricane Amanda moved to the Washington Gorge, where Mr. O is living, and lost there itself. President Bush, who was caught in the eye of the hurricane, wanted to thank Mr. O for still living there. Because Mr. O was taking a nap, like he said, he pushed the president out. Right now, President Bush is being treated at the PCOPFVIPFA, the psychiatric clinic of Philadelphia for very important persons from America.